Welcome to the Future of Political Consulting by the AAPC, where we explore the evolving landscape of political consulting in a rapidly changing world. The AAPC is a bipartisan membership organization that represents professionals working in the political consulting industry. Today, Danielle Cendejas, a partner at the Strategy Group, and Sheila Holman, Vice President of Marketing at USPS, discuss the future of direct mail.
Hi, Sheila. How's it going?
Good. Hey, Danielle. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks for being here. I'm really excited for this conversation because, I feel like I feel like that Madonna song of like Material Girl, like we're all living in a material world, but swap that out to digital. And now we're kind of having a conversation about materials, right? Mail being something that is physical, that we can touch, we can feel it. But I'm really excited about this conversation because as a direct mail strategist, and a political consultant, I am constantly speaking the praises of direct mail and why postcards matter and all of those good things. So I think this conversation is timely, but also very, very exciting to be able to figure out how consultants can leverage technology and direct mail and all of the exciting things that USPS has been promoting as well. So let's just chat and get started. As I mentioned, we're living in this very digital world right now. There's a lot of screens in our lives, but direct mail is still going strong in marketing and political campaigns. What do you think keeps it so relevant?
Yeah, I think simply put, because it works. It drives higher response rates and it creates a lasting impression. And when we look across our research, it really shows that personalization and targeting are two important reasons direct mail continues to be relevant with voters and is widely used by campaigns. And, voters themselves see direct mail as one of the most credible channels. And that matters for campaigns where trust of the candidate and political party is everything. And in fact, when we looked at the last election, the 2024 election, our internal numbers showed that winning campaigns used more direct mail. So I think that's promising for campaigns looking to integrate direct mail into upcoming campaign strategies.
I love that. If you want to win, do direct mail. That's my new mantra.
Yes.
Well, I think, this does bring us to the point that you mentioned is that the campaigns that do engage in the mailbox are more likely to get the vote. And as we have said through many of the AAPC panels and conversations, you have to kind of meet people where voters are at, right? And as more people are voting by mail, more people are making that decision in their living room, at their kitchen table, conversing with folks. And it doesn't mean that digital, isn't important, but it's really a conversation around how do you break through? How do you get known? So how does physical mail break through all of the noise that we feel on having too many screens in our lives? And what kind of impact does that have when you're trying to reach voters?
Yeah, exactly. I think we all can relate to the fact that we probably have thousands of unopened emails in our inbox. And so, that's where direct mail really has an edge. And we call that, sort of that unique mail moment when that experience really comes into play. We know that direct mail can be precisely targeted, but the other benefits, because it's a physical piece, it offers that tactile and sensory mail experience for voters. So when they're opening their mailbox and they're sorting through their mail, it forms sort of an engagement and that engagement goes beyond their fingers. We've actually learned that voters interacting with direct mail pieces, they feel less overwhelmed. They have a harder time ignoring the mail pieces. They find them easier to understand and more memorable than other advertising channels. And a lot of voters, if they're like me, they prefer the choice to be able to kind of have that piece, read over it on their own time, and maybe even bring that to the poll when it's time to go vote. So it really, I think as a medium, it really enables campaigns to communicate with voters and have that relationship with the voter, the same relationship that they have with their mailbox. So it can be really leveraged to break through the clutter and create that tangible connection with them right in their homes.
Excellent. I couldn't agree more. And you know what I've noticed is um, I'm getting a lot more direct mail from brands that I actually have engaged with, right? Like every time it's been a little too long since I bought something from Madewell, I get a, hey, remember us? 15% off coupon. Or, you know, I don't subscribe to the Nordstrom emails anymore because it brings on a shopping habit that I think is hurtful to my bank account. But I get a catalog for the half yearly sale, and I'm like, oh, like this is what's new, this is what's fashionable, and almost always I'm buying something. And so I think that how do we sort of translate that to what the private marketplace is doing and that you're seeing that are good trends that political campaigns should be following, and what are some effective ways campaign can get their message out there now?
Yeah, definitely. So, there's a lot of, as we think about mail and we look at, marrying mail with digital channels, there's a lot of changes that are happening, whether it's, privacy from Gmail or Apple. And, a lot of those digital things, digital channels may not be getting noticed. So, one solution that we use and we have at the Postal Service is called informed delivery. And essentially what that is, it's basically a digital service that can be leveraged to optimize direct mail by integrating hard copy mail pieces with digital advertising. And basically anyone that has a mailbox can sign up for informed delivery for free. And every voter, when you look at the numbers, over 50% of them are now signed up for informed delivery. So essentially how it works is that users will receive a daily digital preview of their mail pieces coming into their mailbox. They may get it via an email notification, or we have an online dashboard or a mobile app. And so they get the notice, they see the physical mail pieces that are coming into their mailbox. And then the platform enables, you can actually use data and personalization. And when you see the email and you click on it, you can that click to respond functionality that can drive immediate action. It can do things like drive mail recipients to a website, to become a donor, or encourage them to become a volunteer, whatever the campaign's objective is. And the open rates for that email that comes into the voter's mailbox is actually 58%, which for anyone who does email marketing, that's a pretty high open rate. So it's a pretty effective tool.
Absolutely. I am a subscriber myself. I enjoy getting my informed delivery emails, and it's also helpful when you're away too. If you're traveling a lot and you just like, oh, did this thing come in? But it also gives you something to look forward to when you are trying to create that online and offline conversation. And I think to your point, 58% open rate, and you know the amount of people who actually do engage with this. It's an additional tool for consultants to be using, and it's free. And so it does take a little bit of legwork, but we have used it successfully for many of our campaigns. And you could also keep track of the people who are engaging with it if you're really smart about how you work your sign up sheets on your website and all of those things. So thank you for continuing to spread the word about informed delivery, because it is something that I know we have had great success about too.
Yeah, we love it. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah. Speaking of fun things on the Postal Service's website, I was looking at irresistiblemail.com. And for those who haven't looked at the website yet, it's a really cool way to really kind of expand your mind about what are the possibilities with direct mail. Things that you can integrate cool tech with, everything from scratch and sniffs to types of ink that you can use, as well as the tactile tearing and pop-ups and all of those good things. So if you're exploring different ways that you can think creatively around direct mail, irresistiblemmail.com is a great place to look. But Sheila, can you walk us through some of the tech tools that maybe campaigns might think of using as the advancements around the voice enabled technology keeps moving forward, the virtual reality, augmented reality. There's some really cool videos that I saw of people who were able to like try on shoes without actually trying them on. And I'm actually really excited to hear more about what near field communication is too, because that seems really fascinating to integrate as well.
Yeah, sure. So, as you noted, I mean, there's tons of different ways you can leverage technology and integrate those into your direct mail piece. And the great news is this technology can support, no matter what your campaign objective is, it can help support that, whether that's fundraising, get out the vote, or just creating awareness about your candidate. So some of the technologies that you mentioned. So, for example, imagine getting a postcard and tapping that on your phone, and suddenly you're watching a video message from the candidate. So that's what near field communication is, or NFC. It's that instant connection from your physical mail piece to digital. Another technology, augmented reality, which is when you overlay messages, like such as after you're scanning a QR code from the piece, or virtual reality, which creates more of an immersive, interactive experience, both of which help the mail piece go from being a flat mail piece to being something more alive and interactive. So, for example, if you scan it, it could launch a 3D map of a polling place or some other message about your campaign or your candidate. And it's also a great way to sort of surprise voters and really make an impression. And then the last one that you talked about, voice-enabled mail, that's where you can actually design mail to work with like a smart speaker. So say a voter scans a code or uses a specific keyword, and then Alexa or Siri might give them an opportunity to actually ask a question or hear directly from the candidate. So, for all of the political consultants listening, I think it's great, and understanding these technologies can really help, drive your campaign objectives forward.
That's super exciting. We are oftentimes asking how we can get our campaigns to be on those voice enabled devices such as Alexa and Siri. So it's great to see that that technology exists, that we could use mail in that way. But if a campaign were to invest in some of these tech enhanced mailers, how would they actually work? How would we know that they actually are working? Is there anything that the Postal Service can, impart some wisdom on being able to utilize that the best?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are very focused on measuring the effectiveness of mail, and we have a lot of data that we look at to support that. And I think there's a variety of ways to measure it. So, one great way is having a QR code or a personalized URL on your mail piece, and that's a great way to track engagement. You can also look at engagement through, if you're fundraising, you can look at it through the donations or potentially RSVPs to campaign events. We talked about informed delivery, but that adds another opportunity to track engagement, to see how many voters actually opened your email or engaged with your piece. And then the analytics from all of these integrations will allow the campaigns to measure the response rate and really refine their outreach strategies for better results. And it can also provide a really great way to measure the ROI for their campaigns. So you don't just know, nowadays with all the technology and the tracking, you go beyond just knowing that your mail piece was delivered. Now you can actually measure engagement levels and really optimize it just like you might do with a digital channel.
That's super exciting and a game changer, I think, for many of us who have been in direct mail and are constantly for a long time and trying to constantly innovate. But most of our job is to keep the budget very, very low. I like to call it a budget of choices. We oftentimes are trying to give Nordstrom quality on Target prices, if you will. So, what does this technology typically cost? And um, what is the cost to add some of these features to a mail piece, for instance?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely recognize that when you're sort of zhuzhing up your mail piece like this, it's definitely going to increase the cost. And so at the Postal Service, we actually offer a variety of promotions and incentives that are going to help reduce that cost. And if you go to on our website, we have a mailing promotions portal, and you could just Google direct mail promotions and incentives, USPS, and you'll see all of the promotions that we have available. And one of them is around integrating technology. And so for campaigns that integrate, technologies that we talked about earlier, there's definitely incentives to reduce the cost of postage for your piece. We also have something called a Mail Growth Incentive Program, which basically gives you a postage credit of up to 30% for qualifying volume when you're mailing in excess of about 1 million pieces. And during the 2024 elections, we saw that campaigns were credited that took advantage of this incentive were credited roughly $500 million by using it. So just some great programs that we have available. And we also have staff that you can reach out to, our team of political experts, who can also help the campaigns figure out the right tools and the right resources and the right promotions to benefit your candidate.
Thank you for that. And thank you for the reminder of the great team that engages with us political consultants. They are always super helpful. I end up making them my best friends because they're constantly able to answer questions, but also triage things. And especially if you're new to direct mail or you're expanding it as a part of your offerings for your clients, really having that engagement is super, super helpful. It's an incredible partnership to build. So just shout out to the great team that you all at USPS have built to help our industry, as well as a pro tip to any of the political consultants who haven't found their person, make them your new best friend. We are always and they're always so gracious to come to many of our AAPC events as well. So I just want to ask, is there any USPS programs that we have maybe not discovered yet, or that campaigns are not utilizing in great numbers that we're just sleeping on? We're not here to hide anything. We don't want any more secrets. But what are some things that maybe campaigns aren't thinking about using that are underutilized, the underutilized services from the U.S. Postal Service?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the first places we tend to point people to is what you mentioned earlier, the irresistiblemail.com site. It's a great website. It has examples of different ways and integrations and creativity, design, inks, different things of how to really enhance your mail piece. And it can really be a great source of inspiration for campaigns who are looking for ideas on how to sort of amp up their mail piece. And it really showcases all kinds of creative ideas in innovative formats. We also have a dedicated political website, deliverthewin.com, and that website has additional resources on how to optimize political mail as part of your campaign strategy. There's thought leadership, a bunch of different, details of information on there. We talked about informed delivery, which I think is probably underutilized by campaigns. I mean, we know that political consultants are using it in their daily lives, but it would be great to also be able to use that to communicate with voters. And as I talked about, integrating that hard copy mail piece with digital advertising via the daily informed delivery email. And then lastly, just to give another plug for our dedicated team of political mail experts. If you want to reach out to them, they can be, very helpful, as you noted. And the best way to do that is to just go to the deliverthewin.com website. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's a button that says talk to an expert. You can click on that and we can get you connected with someone on that team.
Excellent, and excellent points made, and good reminder for even those of us who are the a little more experience in this field, that there are so many great resources, and to remind ourselves of the utility of direct mail and different ways that we can do that. I have one final curveball question, because we are recording this during baseball season or baseball playoffs here. What was the what was one of the most favorite mail pieces that you have received, that like made the mail moment even more special for you?
Oh gosh. Well, I have to tell you that I am a big catalog shopper. So, and this isn't as sexy, but anytime I get a piece from my favorite catalog that has either a personalized message to me based on my shopping habit or is offering me a special incentive for my birthday, those are probably my favorite mail pieces.
Nice. Very, very cool. I spotted the Amazon toy catalog in my niece's hand the other day, and I'm like, oh no, it's already out. So
Exactly.
I agree with you. I think anytime I get something that is a 15% off coupon, a 20% off coupon, or a you haven't shopped here lately, it actually does make me feel a little special. That I'm like, oh, you value me as a customer.
Exactly.
So yeah, our message to our friends in political consulting is treat your voters like they're your best customer, and that utilize some of these personalization tools and really kind of make that mail moment as special as possible, because there is this sort of memory that gets put into place with it. Couldn't agree more. Sheila, thank you so much for sharing all of this wonderful information with us. And I really hope that those of us in political consulting take advantage of the many opportunities and the many learnings that you have made available to us in throughout the all the offerings of the United States Postal Service, but all the knowledge that you've shared in this episode.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. And, one of my jobs here at the Postal Service is to talk about how effective direct mail is. So I'm excited to be here. And I guess if I could leave one final thought for the audience, it's basically that, direct mail, it's more effective than ever, especially when you're integrating it with technology and pairing it with digital.
Excellent parting words. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was our chat with Danielle and Sheila. Be sure not to miss an episode. Subscribe to the Future of Political Consulting by the AAPC on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And join the conversation by following us on social media at the AAPC. Thanks for listening.